Hi guys, and welcome to this week's market update video. I'm just going to be taking you through the top major currency pairs and a few more pairs of interest just from a technical point of view as well, because I think there's been some interesting little breakouts that have happened recently, and we could see some potential moves on those pairs that will give us a nice little boost to August. So starting as always with the dollar index and where we're at now. We did expect a breakout this week. That hasn't occurred. We're still in this 95 area, but the dollar looks fairly bullish. So we may actually see a more of a breakout to the upside. But again, we have to wait until that is confirmed. You know, if it takes out this high, then I'm happy to look for those dollar long trades again. Until that happens, I'm just going to be sitting on the side with the majors mostly, and you can still see that in the major currency pairs. So euro US dollar broke out of this lower trend line, so this could be an early indication that we could be seeing some euro downside with some dollar strength coming into play. Still needs to take out these lows more around this area, about that 1.15 area. If it does that, then we've got plain sailing lower. Our prediction of the higher time frame head and shoulders would be invalid at that point, and we'd have to look for further downside to this market. But this week we could just see a further push down into that 15100 area before seeing any kind of buyers stepping back into the market. But interesting to see what will happen next week. Pound US dollar, after the interest rate decision and Carney's dovish tone, we saw the pound move lower back into this 1.3 level. If we're going to see any further downside, we need to take out this low at 1.2960, because then we'll have a return to the lower lows. We're still getting lower highs, obviously, which is part of a downtrend, but we're at this big support level. So let's see it get taken out first. Some lower closes would be nice to see before seeing any further downside to this market. Just taking a look at the weekly chart, yeah, you can see that if we do take out this level, the next kind of downside is around that 127 area just through here. So we'll have some room to work with at that point. Aussie US dollar, Aussie is the only one that kind of held up against the dollar strength, and you can see that across the currency pairs. So if we were to look at the Aussie markets, which is what I'm going to show you in a little bit, we've got those breakouts now because everything seems to be weak, but Aussie's kind of holding its own against the US dollar, still trapped in this range in here. So again, not necessarily buying the Australian dollar against the US dollar, but looking for any type of breakout here to suggest any kind of strength or weakness. New Zealand dollars heading back towards this lower area of the range. I've talked about this before as well, with the potential pushback down into this 600-700 level before seeing any buyers return to the market. We could see a break to the downside again as well. So this is everything that we've got to be aware of with these markets now, because it's pretty easy. We've got this consolidation. We've just got to wait for those breakouts. So I've still got my alerts set either side. If we see a breakout, then we'll look to take action. Dollar CAD, so we had some CAD strength against the US dollar as well. It's not been the cleanest. Had a couple of a trade through here that got stopped out on a news spike through here, but price did go the way I expected it to go. It's just not as strong as I'd like. Obviously the dollar strength is holding this market properly up as well, and if we do see a breakout into the upside on oil, this market could just range around this 1.3 area for the kind of coming weeks. Going down to dollar Swiss, we saw a breakout, we saw an opportunity to potentially take a trade. Still nothing's come about of it for me. I wanted to see a clear break lower. We haven't had that. We're still stuck and resuming back into this range. If we look at the weekly chart, it looks a bit like a pink handle, just in there, like a doji. So we could be seeing higher prices back into the parity level of 1. So we could potentially look for some buying opportunities. The 4-hour looks pretty good, but again, I'd only be targeting any kind of one-to-ones back into these highs or back into that resistance area up there. Dollar yen, if we go to the 4-hour chart, you can see we could have potentially had our first lower high in there, and prices come down and broken through this area now. So we could be seeing some further downside and some yen strength returning to the markets. We've obviously seen some yen strength this week, which has been pretty good. Looking at the daily chart, is this our first lower high, and are we going to see lower prices now? For me, we've got this nice supporting trend line just running through there, so connecting this low just in here to the second low in there, two significant lows, and projecting forwards, we can see that we held a support here, but now we're looking and holding the support again. Now we're looking for that break to the downside for continued shorts. Now that's going to cover our major currency pairs, because I think they're still range bound. There's no real clear direction. I just want to see a little bit more out of these markets, so I'm going to go straight on to some cross pairs of interest. Okay, so the first one for me is Euro Oz, and I talked about this in the chat room as well in the live traders club. I was expecting the market to break out of this consolidation area. Now I didn't know which way it was going to break out, but we have these two sticking points just through here, and now we've had a very clean breakout just here. Nice bearish close as well. So any kind of pullbacks on 4-hour time frames or anything like that is something that I'm going to be looking for, or even a push back into this 1.5730 area for continued downside as well. It's just something to be aware of. We've closed below this spike low as well, which is fantastic. This market is showing some bearish signs in my opinion, so I'd like to see the market really push lower now. If we go to a 4-hour chart, we can see the significant breakout now. So all we need to see is some kind of pullback, just to get on the back of something, even if it just pulls back into these opens and closes around that 1.57 would be nice to see. So again, just look for any kind of price action on these charts, because we could be seeing further downside back into this 15470 level just down here. EuroCAD, very similar. We're in this trade still. We are very, very close to target. So we identified that we broke through this market. We retraced back into a significant area. It's a 50% retracement, bounce off the 20 moving average, which is what we look to trade. Return to the mean value, and then a break low, which is perfect. Bearish engulfing candle. The market has now trickled on down, and we're looking to take profits just in this 1.5 area. My stops are at break even now. We are literally 20 points away from target, so my stops have gone to break even, and we'll see if Monday can open, just drop down, and then maybe there'll be some mean reversion trades back in here, but we'll have to see what happens on this chart. But if we can look at to the weekly chart for a second, it looks very, very bearish. If I just move my fib from this high point up here down to this low point and potentially project lower, if we look at the 127 extension, it comes down into these low points just through here. So this could be our first lower high in the weekly, and a measured, almost like a measured move, or just a push down into our extension legs just through here, or even the 1618, which sits nicely at this previous structure low in there. So a lot to look at, I think, with the euro crosses. Just going down to pound CAD, very similar. We've had this kind of first lower high in the weekly. Now we've broken through that weekly low. If I just project our fibs on there, and you'll see how close we are to moving down to our 127 extension just through here, which is actually not a bad little level. If I just draw it on so you can see that through there around that 1.6680, it was used as a high here before, previous structure lows there, support there, so we could see price push down into these lows through here, and I'll be looking at any kind of pullback. So if I just go back to the daily chart, very similar to EuroCAD, any kind of pullbacks on this pair, we'd be looking to continue that short. We tried to have a look at a short here on pound CAD, but nothing really came of it. The very same thing with pound Oz as well. We're talking about shorts through here, but it broke to the upside in an early session because of news, and then continued on its way down. So we didn't really get the chance to short that market, but it did move as we anticipated, which is good. A couple of other pairs that I'm monitoring as well. Euro yen, very similar, lower high, broken into lower lows. Now this is a potential to move lower. If I just bring in this CTL all the way over here as well, it's now a really nice breakout of it. We had a little breakout here, but kind of like a false breakout, push back in. Now we've got a very clean breakout, and we can be looking for any kind of short trades on euro yen. So euro market looks fairly bearish right now, looking at the technicals of those markets. Pound yen also very similar. I think we're going to see some further downside here. I'll just be a little bit wary because these lows are coming up pretty fast, just in there. So there's a little bit of a support zone where the market has found buyers on two separate occasions just through there. We could be seeing a push down in. So intraday you might get some shorts into this area, but you know, we are approaching that support, so just be a little bit aware of that. Aussie Swiss was on our list to go long last week. Now it hasn't done anything just yet, but because seeing that Aussie strength, I'm going to reiterate this kind of trend line resistance just through here, you know, and I'm going to wait for any kind of breakout to the upside on this particular market. If I look at the 4 hour, there's a nice little structure support area through here, which price is just rejecting at the moment. If we can get above that, break out of this trend line support, resistance, sorry, use it as support, we could look for further upside. So that would look a little bit like this, just in there. We could look for potential moves higher on Aussie Swiss as well. New Zealand Swiss, you know, I was again looking for a breakout to the upside, but it broke lower, but Kiwi weakness coming back into the market. So I'm not too fussed with this market at the moment, so I actually am going to uncheck that. Gold, however, gold is really interesting me. Again, we're going to have to see some dollar weakness though for this to really kick in. But through August, there is a particular bit of strength in the commodity, and we've got this really nice level down here around that $1,200 level. Are we going to see the market bounce back into that 20 moving average, which I've just marked out there, so that on the daily chart we can see that as well. Now I need the market to do certain things here, and you know, we have this really nice counter trend line just in here, nice little trend line resistance. We've got the dynamic resistance coming from the moving averages as well. Now what I'd really like to see is the market really push through, create higher prices, have a nice close above this area, then have a nice retracement before seeing any kind of buying opportunities around this sort of area, maybe with the moving averages just curling up like that. So that's what I'll be looking for on gold. Of course, we can break to the downside and see further lower prices as well if that dollar strength is to continue. You know, and if we do see that, we could see what we saw before in 2016, where we had price just completely ignore this 1200 level and drop straight into the 1330s. So that could be 1130s. So that could be really interesting as well, because we could see some shorts really pushing the market lower if the dollar does break out of that significant range. Okay, so I'm going to leave that as it is this week. I hope this video has helped you create some sort of mini watch list. Happy trading this week, guys. Looking forward to the webinars this week, so see you in the live traders room. Now if you are new to watching these videos as well, the live traders room is simply a room where we do 6 webinars a week in the mornings and in the evenings. We provide educational content in those and live trading. Okay, so you get to watch us do what we got to do, as well as learn through our processes. We also have some courses coming up as well, online courses that you can look to take, and we also have a nice little members channel where we let all our members that join the live traders room, the live traders club, jump into a little chat room, discuss ideas, discuss any kind of trading setups with each other, and we've created a nice little community in there. So if you're really interested in that, please check out www.tradeandtrain.com, and I will post the links below this video, but it's www.tradeandtrain.com. If you head over to that website, you'll see the Live Traders Club, and you can investigate a little bit further there. Okay, so thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.